The only reason I called was to point out maybe is obvious, is that not all children buy into Christianity. I was born and raised in Independence, Missouri. Both my parents were Christians because that's what you did. They were members of the Methodist Church. I had a heart health issue combined with an overly protective mother that prevented me from attending church until about, I'm not sure if it was 6 or 7 years of age. Wow. And when I did start attending church, the big picture of what they were talking about just seemed silly to me. It just didn't make any sense. Now,
this seems like it would be used as a cautionary tale telling parents, make sure you get your kids to church right away.
Exactly, because my brother totally bought into it, and he started attending church in my mother's arms as an infant. So he is, to this day, a devout Christian. But there are people out there like me who, as children, for whatever reason, timing-wise, just don't believe it. They cast it aside as just nonsense.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a reason that religious people are so keen on getting children into churches, and not just their own children, but like there are a lot of there's sometimes a lot of church pressure to on kids to invite their friends to come on this fun trip and go eat cookies and play around in the kids section of the church and give them sort of warm, friendly feelings about churches, and then start laying on the heavy stuff when they start having sexual urges or whatever.
Comes much later, but yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Like that's me growing up. There were babies that cry in church, and people would take them out to the hall, but you're always a part of that. You participate in the Easter program and the Christmas program, and that's just something that you involve those kids in. But to your point, kids that aren't indoctrinated into that belief, they may or may not adopt that belief. By the same token, people that have been secular all their lives can also fall into that into a belief system like that. Anyway, people are convinced of things for different reasons, and whether those reasons are good or bad is something that can be evaluated. But someone that is secular all their life can still, become a believer later on in life just because they felt that they were convinced by, something that happened in their lives or an experience that they had. So, it's a widespread thing. But in your case, it was the other way, where you weren't indoctrinated, and then when you were brought to that scene, you thought it didn't really make sense. And I think that's true for a lot of people, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Well, may I mention one other incident? I was buying some items from a preacher, and a Christian, and he had just turned atheist. And he loved to spend lots of time with me talking about all the details in the Bible that caused him to become an atheist. And it always struck me as being odd that he just couldn't see the big picture about how the whole thing was nonsense. But I guess for some people, it's important that they get bogged down, in my opinion, in those details. I didn't need to do that. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Different people take different paths. That's for sure, on their way going into such a belief or on their way out of it. It's some things are similar as far as, someone was exposed to a video on YouTube and that's how they kind of started questioning things. It's a lot that can go the way. I have people that I know that are believers, and they specifically will not try to think about those contradictions. So, people that when I came out as gay, and them trying to reconcile that difference with their book that has some clear points that homosexuality is not an acceptable thing, but that's not something they wanted to think too much about. They kind of cast that to the side and you
Right.
still kept on going. It's just
Because it's not just unacceptable naughty naughty to them. It's unacceptable as in the Bible says that you should be tortured for this.
you will not
and
inherit the kingdom of heaven.
right.
Type
and,
of business, and so
Right.
And I like you as a person, so I'm not going to think about that.
judge the sin, not the sinner.
It's like my favorite expression from Christians is, I love you, but I hate your sin.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what an incredibly nasty, mean thing to say to anybody, you know?
Yeah, especially
It's
when
like
the sin they're
saying to
talking.
them, I like you as a person, but I hate your religion. How would that go over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to orientation, when you say, well, I hate the sin, but, I love you, but I can't stand that part. And it's just like, well, that is me. Yeah, that's a thing. That's the way, but they'll say, like, homosexual, the lifestyle. That's what it is. It's that lifestyle. So as long as I'm celibate and don't act on it, then we're all gravy. Otherwise,
Exactly.
how dare you?
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate your time.
All right,
All right,
yeah,
take
thanks
care,
for
David.
calling. I'm a little disappointed. We had someone on the line who was identifying as a biblical deist, and I really just wanted to ask him what that means.
What it was. We were talking about that before the show started. I was very curious as to what biblical deism, what that actually meant.
Yeah, because because like deism, and we looked it up. I mean, to be sure, because we think we know what it means, but it's specifically believing in a creator who does not intervene in the universe, and that seems real hard to square with what the Bible says.
Yeah.
Unless it's all so metaphorical that it's pretty much meaningless.
Yeah,
so
that was just.
I don't know what a biblical deist is, and I guess now I'll never find out.
If you can
Very sad.
put a comment on Free Thought blogs or Facebook or something that kind of breaks that down a little bit as to what that specifically refers to, because
Yeah.
I really want to ask that question.
But anyway.